Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vincent Joe.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reed.
And I'm Allison Reed.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Grace.
We're from the Haydenettes.
I am Mark Henretti.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Rebecca Ghirardi
e Filippo Ambrosini
e vi diamo il benvenuto a
This Weekend Skating.
Welcome to This Week in Skating, the weekly podcast bringing you the latest news from the world of figure skating. Here are your hosts, Daphne, Gina, and Mateo.
Ethan Peal and Ethan Peal made their senior debut last season, winning silver at Bavarian Open and bronze at Santa Claus Cup and finishing 12th at Nationals.
And while the two of them are busy preparing for next season, Ethan has also been busy working on something away from the ice, but still connected. Ethan has built a searchable database of ice dance elements to help athletes and coaches find inspiration, study elements, and learn new things.
It is called Skating Storage, and we're excited to welcome Ethan to This Week in Skating to learn more about this project he's been working on. So welcome, Ethan.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is a really cool site you've got going. There's so many different parts. I'm excited to talk to you about this. But the first question I want to ask is, how did you decide to create Skating Storage?
Yeah, so it started because a couple months ago, when we're kind of coming up with new ideas for the season, the coaches kind of were like, all right, everybody, we're tired and burnt out from having to come up with all the ideas. So you need to come back next week and have 3 ideas for each element that you're going to try and work on. So then I went home for the weekend and I was just watching video after video. And I was like, man, like, I wish I could just like search up like and look through a list of 100 different ice dance lifts. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and make that. And so of course that process ended up being way longer than just watching some ice dance videos to find lifts. But that's how it started, and it's just grown from there. And every day I've been more and more excited and to work on it, and the reception has been amazing so far. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, every time I go to look at it, you've added like a bunch more things. And so I feel like it's gone way beyond what it was at the beginning when you first launched it. It just keeps building.
Yeah, because I started it with a very limited scope of, okay, I'm just going to do ice dance elements. And this is just mostly going to be an internal tool for like me to use at the rink. And like, maybe I'll open it up to some friends of mine. And then, you know, the reception at the rink was so positive that then I was like, okay, I'm going to publicly post about it. And then from there, people were just messaging me like, oh, like this would be cool. This would be cool. And I was like, wow, like that would be cool. And then, you know, I would go online and I would see like someone would post something that I'd be like, oh, that's a cool feature. And so I don't know. I've always been a person where like when I get obsessed with something, I just really like, that's all I can think about. And so, yeah, for the past like month, I've just been I don't even want to say hard at work because it's just been so much fun, but I've been really committed to it, and it's grown beyond just ice dance at this point. I have a lot of plans to hopefully catalog all the disciplines. I want to do solo dance. I want to do I've added in resources and other things like that. And my goal now is to make this the everything app for skating. So it's a big goal, but yeah.
Well, you've taken some great steps in that direction because you just keep adding things. And interestingly enough, I reached out to you after you launched it and said, hey, I really need some help with the ICE Partner Search site because it hasn't been updated in such a long time. And I'm not sure how to change it or make it better. It went beyond the capabilities that I have, my limited program knowledge. And so that's going to be launching soon. So it's been cool to get to work with you on that project because I can't wait for people to see it because it's just improved. It's still the same ICE Partner Search site, but it's enhanced and it's more functional and there are some new things. So I'm excited to get it out there for everyone to see. And that will be very soon.
Yes, hopefully very soon. Really excited about that. And randomly I had people come up to me and be like, oh, you should ask, icedance.com about ICE Partner Search. And I was like, well, I think you'll be happy, we'll see. Something might be coming. So
yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. I've been wanting to do something with it for a while and it just worked out. You launched that site and I realized some of the components match, I think, pretty well. So it's got to be easy to take some of this and translate it to that site. And I mean, I'm not sure if people know, IPS has been around since 2003. So it's been around a really long time. And a couple of years ago, the creator, Augie Hill, decided that he hasn't been skating in years. And he wanted to transfer it to someone who was still in the sport. And so I ended up with it. And yeah, I'm excited for the new version to launch. It should be launching very, very soon.
Well, yeah, I just want everyone to know that you've been a great shepherd of the site. And I saw on the back end how much work I never realized how much work goes into maintaining the site as it was. So I'm really excited about the new user side, but also the new administrative side of the site that I think will allow you to better serve the ice dance community and the pairs community. And so I'm really excited about that.
Me too. Me too. I think the programming went as far as it could and it was starting to malfunction. So it made it very difficult to seamlessly approve new bios. It took more time. And yeah, I'm very excited. And I can't wait to share the link with Augie too, to show him that the site is like going to a new level and just is going to continue to grow and change and evolve as skating has. So I'm very excited to get it launched. But getting back to skating storage, is this something that you studied in school? Did you study programming?
Yeah. So my, for the last 3 years, my major has been aerospace engineering. And so with that, I took a lot of programming courses and courses adjacent to that. And then in this last year, I decided to change my major to applied mathematics. And so that has its own set of computer classes alongside it. So it's always been something that I've been interested and passionate about, but I think my skills were never quite where they would need to be to bring something like this to life. And then in the last year, I just had some really great professors that explained things to me in a new way and like opened doors and read to resources that I didn't know were there. And just, I think the stars aligned in a right way. And, it was never something as a kid that I was naturally good at, but I think, like what I've learned with skating is you can have a little talent, you can have a lot of talent, but your success really just depends on how much you work at it. And so that's been the most exciting thing about this for me is just learning all these new skills that I never thought I was made for, like, or my mind was made for. But it's kind of like solving a puzzle. Like once the pieces start to line up, it's like, and then you see the finished picture, and then it's easy. It gets easier and easier to put all the pieces together. So I think it was a slow process starting it out, but once I got the ball rolling, it's really rolling now, hopefully. So.
It is really rolling.
And you have a passion for it, and I think that comes across. The times that we've been talking about IPS, I really get the sense that you're excited about working on projects like this. Like you're really invested and interested. And I think because you're a skater yourself and you understand the sport, that can lend itself really well compared to someone who maybe is outside the sport trying to build something like this, because you have that understanding of the inner workings of things that someone outside really doesn't have that connection with.
Well, I tried to build all of the core. I mean, I've been expanding to like more fan centric stuff as well, but I've tried to build all the core features around stuff that I would have wanted growing up. And so like one of the things that I added recently was the ability to just easily find pattern dances or moves in the field tests, because, growing up, like all the information's there, but I would always have to sit for like 5 minutes and scroll through the PDF. And so I was like, man, I wish I could just like type in, I want to do the quick step and just click on it. And then there's the pattern. So that was really cool to just put together in the services side of the app. And the same I have added in a semi-intelligent rule finder that kind of parses the PDFs into little bite-sized chunks. And then if you want more info on it, you can click on them and it takes you right to the blurb about the element. So it's just been, for me, it's been about reducing friction to stuff like that. Because, obviously for a skater like me now in my position, if I have a question about an element, I can go to my coaches and just say, hey, what's the answer to this? Like, I know every rule that there is to ever know about skating. What's the answer? But, not everyone has access to that. And so I was really trying to think about those people and the people that want to be competitive, but maybe don't necessarily have every single knowledge base available to them instantly.
Now, is skating storage on desktop and mobile? Like, can people be on their phones at the rink and pull something up right on their phone?
Yeah, so that's been something that I've really been working on recently, and I have a lot of updates planned for the mobile side, because obviously, like when I was originally building everything, it was mostly desktop oriented, and then I obviously got a lot of feedback of like, hey, this is kind of hard to use on the phone, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So mobile's been a little bit of a challenge for me, but I've been making a lot of progress on it, and that's a big focus of mine going forward, is because I know the goal is to have people use this at the rink, and everyone has their phones at the rink. So right now, I would say it is usable on the phone, but it's going to be a lot more usable in the coming weeks.
Now, Daphne and I have checked out skating storage quite a bit. But for people who are listening who haven't been to the site, can you give us a little of what they would see if they go to skating storage?
Yeah, for sure. So I do plan on hopefully releasing like a explainer YouTube video soon that I want to link in the site. So maybe in the future, they can look for that as well. But basically, when you load into the site right now, the main page is going to be the archive portion of the site. And in the top right, you'll have the different disciplines. Right now, it's mostly ice dance. And then I've started to add a bit of men's singles. But eventually, it'll be all the disciplines. And you'll have a set of filters that you can sort by competition, year, and then what's really valuable right now is being able to sort by element type. So the goal when this all started was you're able to say, I want to see different spins. You just put in that in the filter, and then you have a list of 100 different ice dance spins, and they're all sorted by how they scored. And that was the coolest part, is because thankfully all of the ISU GOE information is public, I'm able to just pair that directly with the video, and you can get all that info and even derive a lot of really interesting judging analytics from that, some of which I'll leave that to the fans to discover. Competing, but
fans love that, though. They love to be able to dive into a protocol, or you want to dive into analytics that show you how a judge has scored teams across the board and even at various competitions. And so with stuff like that, it makes it a lot easier than anyone having to sit down and take every single protocol and put it in an Excel table, because that takes forever.
Well, one of the most interesting things that I learned as a skater when just putting this together is, combo lifts and all elements in general, you would think hypothetically have the same distribution of GOE given to them. If +5 is the max and -5 is the minimum, you would think that most elements would kind of fall around the same average. But what I found is actually combo lifts in particular that start with a stationary position and then go to a rotational position score significantly higher than other types of combination lifts, which when you think about it makes sense in the sense that if you're a judge and you see someone doing something stationary and then they start moving really quickly, you're kind of inclined to award that a high GOE. And, obviously there's so many exceptions to the rule, but that was just an interesting thing to take note of, in a sport where every point matters. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So I've just been, there's been so many things like that. And then adding in all these kind of other cool metrics, like I added in a Warhorse music tracker so you can see the most skated to music. That was really fun to do. Hans Zimmer reigns supreme.
Yes. He's done so many movie soundtracks, okay? He's responsible for so many of those key pieces that we've all heard a million times. And even if you don't know what movie it was in or where it's from, you hear it and you'll dig into your brain trying to figure it out. And he's responsible for a lot of it. Yeah.
And then, I have to give credit to someone on Reddit for this one, but I saw a post a while back of someone made a diagram of all the ice dance teams and where they trained and like all the connections the teams had to each other. And I was like, oh, that would be so cool to put. So if in the analytics tab, there's something called Coach Map, and I put together where all the ISU recognized teams right now. I still have to expand it a bit, but the ones I have in the database, you can see where they all train. And then you can even switch to a globe view and it wraps around the globe. And you can see the different locations of the concentration of the different schools, which I thought that's one of those features that is just fun to look at.
Yeah, that was one I just noticed today. When I went to the site, I was like, oh, he added this coaches map. I didn't see this before. Yeah.
And fans are into that. Like, they like that stuff. They want to see those things. These are things that I know people have said before, at least on Twitter. I've seen it. People want to dig into that. And so it's fun. Those are the fun off-season activities that can keep you really busy.
I think there's so many interactive ideas that are around our sport. It's like, why... all these other sports have these cool apps and stuff. So I was like, why can't we have one? So that was also a big driver for me.
Sometimes that's what happens. The best ideas come from either you want to see something. For me with IDC, it was basically, I'm really tired of going to like 7 or 8 different websites to find information. And so I built a hub for myself and my friend Emma. We did it together because we were tired of digging around. We just wanted links to it in one place so that we didn't have to go looking it up. And then it grew from there. And the fun part of a website like this is you have a starting point and you keep working on it, but you never know where it's going to end up. And it's exciting to be on that ride to see where it goes, because then you look back and you're just shocked at how it evolves from that very original small idea. It just grows and changes. And it's exciting. And you can tell that you have a passion for it. You're really excited to work on it. And it's kind of how I feel when I'm working on IDC or doing interviews or doing anything with that. I'm just really excited to spend time doing that stuff. It makes me happy to be tinkering and working on things. And you should always feel that way. When you start to not feel that way, then that's when you have to start thinking about, okay, it might be time to slow down or step back. But I still feel that way. And it's been almost 27 years of tinkering.
Okay, that's good to know.
It doesn't go away. Sometimes you'll hit little plateaus and you'll be like, okay, maybe I'm slowing down. But it only takes like one little thing, one little idea, or someone reaching out to you, or something new happening, or a change. And I find myself pulled right back into it again, 100%. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see it grow and know that it's something that you built.
Yeah. A new, I guess a new area that I'm expanding the site into as well is kind of practice / like administrative things. And so I've built out these skater portal and also the coach portal, where a coach that has an account can add a bunch of skaters that they teach. And then on the skater side, you can track things like how many run throughs you do throughout the season, how many twizzle sets or how many jumps or different elements you do on a session. And all that data and analytics goes into these really cool graphs on the coach side that they can kind of track your progress and see everything throughout the year. And, they can choose to share that with the skater or not. But I've also built in, messaging where you can send messages to the parent and student. You can do invoicing, you can do season planning. So I'm trying to make as many useful tools in there as possible. So I'm excited to keep refining that and start promoting that soon. But that is on the site currently as well.
I want to ask you about your camera analysis that you were doing last week. What is that all about?
So I was messing around with kind of something called pose tracking, where, I was just I was in my room late at night and I had my laptop and I was like holding my arms up, and Eliana walked by and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm just checking something out. And, so then the next day I went to the rink and I was trying it, and everyone was kind of coming over and they were like, "Oh, what's that? That's cool." And I was like, "Yeah, like you can, I can measure all the angles of my body, and it's just tracking everything using the depth camera sensors on my phone." And then one of my coaches, Adrian, was like, "Oh, like you could probably like see like different skating moves, like and stuff like that." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." So then I went home and I was tinkering away all night. And then I came back the next day and I was like, I'd figured out a bunch of different cool smaller models that kind of focus on one specific thing. And so some of them that I have on the site right now are for arm locking. So for lifts, if the arms are locked or slightly bent, detecting that. So if you're a fan and you want to run a specific video through the detector currently, I'm still working on it. So it's in beta right now. So the results are not perfect, but so there's that. There's the twizzle analyzer. So if you want to check your twizzle leg height, if it's 45 degrees or not. And then the one that I'm really excited about is spin analysis, because, detecting if your camel or your sit spin is low enough or held long enough. And, now that I've started doing all this video footage, I'm also able to start sampling things like speed, rotation. So I'm excited about where that can go. I took some test videos today that I'm going to be working on this weekend about that has to do with speed analysis of a skater across the ice. So I'm very excited about where all that can go. And my eventual goal is to tie it all into one unified model that can detect any skating element. But for now, if you go to the site and you go to movement analysis, there's a bunch of different drop down things that you can select to test specific stuff. So yeah.
That is just so cool.
Yeah, that's been the coolest thing so far. That unlocked a whole new passion for me of like, that's what I've been working on that. So I do want to add more elements to the database, but I've kind of been preoccupied with this stuff. So I'm flipping back and forth.
It's easy to get pulled off in different directions when you find something that is super cool that people are going to be into.
Yeah, and my goal with that is, once the smaller models that I'm building are smart enough to detect what is and isn't a certain position, the idea is to then train it on the ISU rulebook and be able to say, okay, I detected a camel, a sit, this position, that position, and based on the ISU rules, I'm giving you a projected level of a level 3. So if you're a skater that, you want some technical feedback, you can record a video, upload it, get some feedback, hey, you only held this for 2 seconds, it needs to be 3, things like that. So that is the long-term goal of that.
That would be so cool because, I go to the rink and how many people have their phones out and they're recording themselves. To get feedback from what they actually do would be just like great, especially, ahead of a competition. And it's so cool. What you're doing is so cool. I'm like, every time I'm at that site, I'm like, wow, what is Ethan doing now?
You never know what's going to be added.
Right.
It just appears. And it's so cool.
Well, if I was a little more professional about it, I would probably refine things and then do like a big update. But I've just been so excited that as soon as I finish something, I'm like, and push to the site.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Get it out there. People be excited. It will keep people coming back. Now, you mentioned the ISU. What is the response? Have you received any response from like USFS or the ISU or any of the governing bodies about this?
So when I first did my initial post, I had some really cool responses from people at the ISU about, just asking questions about it and things like that. And I had some really cool discussions about potentially expanding into getting licensed footage that could help move the site beyond just pulling from YouTube streams, which would be really awesome. That's still, it's a slow process, work in progress, but I'm really hopeful and excited about that. I would love to get some feedback from people at US Figure Skating or other sports bodies. I would also love to hear from skating clubs or any larger skating organization about, hey, this would really help us, or, what if there's specific needs of that club, I would love to incorporate that or build you a special plan, so yeah, anything like that was very welcome. And any fan feedback as well. I had a lot of fans reach out to me and, give me constructive criticism, and that's super appreciated because, it's for me, but it's also for the fans. And so I would love to, if there's anything that you want added or have any ideas, I'd love to hear it.
And I saw you have the site in English and Japanese,
yes,
which is great for all of our Japanese skaters and Japanese fans. I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah, so like Google Auto Translate exists, but I found that it's not really the best, especially with things like skating terminology. So it was important to me to make this as accessible as possible for how broad the skating fan base is. So I recoded the entire site in Japanese. Luckily, I had a program that is able, I just had to write a couple scripts to intelligently transfer everything over. But I want to eventually do the same for other languages as well. But yeah, right now, currently, you can view the site natively in English or fully in Japanese. So
that's fantastic. Well, fans too are very creative. I mean, they're very dedicated to the sport, and I'm sure they're going to come up with some fantastic ideas to keep you very busy.
Yeah, like in the, I have a community feed section as well, where I've started dabbling with kind of also like competition road mapping for fans. So I'd love to expand that eventually as well, of like, having a full interactive list of all the upcoming competitions that is easily clickable, takes you right to the site of where to watch it, when is the event. So that's also the big problem of our sport is it's just so hard to watch any content surrounding it sometimes. So I think also if you're a fan that wants to get into just learning different elements, and maybe you don't have 55 hours to spend watching an entire stream and you want to just look at a couple elements, the site could also be great for that too.
I think it's going to be a great resource for fans who are new to the sport and don't really understand how an element is scored or what the elements are. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to present it to them in a way that's visual and interactive, so that they can come away from the experience and know a little bit more, because that's been one of the big issues is teaching fans, especially the newer fans, about what they're watching, because it's not the way that it used to be back in the 90s, where it was 1-by-1 judging system. And I think it was, if you were in the top 3 after the short, you control your own destiny. And we've come a long way since then, and the judging system is confusing.
I would love to maybe that's another thing of just like finding a way to translate the scores into an easy to understand system or number for fans would be great. I did also another thing you just reminded me of, and we talked about this before, is in analytics also there's like an adjusted scoring system that I built that is a model that basically takes into account all the changes in base value and GOE from years past. So let's say there's a program from 2018 and you want to see how it would score in today's system. Inflation adjusts the scoring. Yes. And then for elements like a 1 foot that didn't necessarily exist, I basically take the average of the GOE that skater did on the rest of their elements, and I give them an estimated GOE for their 1 foot or other elements like that. But it's pretty cool. There's also a 6.0 converter too, but that's a little more hypothetical. It works best with competitions that are like in the last 10 years. But
yeah, there's a lot of data and information out there on old competitions. I'm always afraid that some of what I call the honeypot sites that have all this information, like the ISU on way, way, way back, you can go and see some of the super old event results. I'm always afraid something's going to happen and it's going to like disappear and we're going to lose it forever. Because someone asked me, why do you always copy and paste the results from each competition? Why don't you just link to
it,
like skating scores and I do link to skating scores. In 27 years, I've seen a lot of data disappear. And so this is my way of keeping it in existence because you don't know. I mean, we pay for hosting for websites. Anything can happen. And so it's there for me for historical purposes. And people like to go and look at it because they still are. I've looked at my analytics. It's interesting what fans and site visitors will go to look at. It's fascinating, honestly, to see what they're interested in, because it's stuff that I had thought about doing away with, and it's something that is popular, so it's going to stay. It's just what it's going to be. It's fun to go and look at what are the most popular things. And that's something that you'll get to do, I'm assuming, once the site's been out for like 6 months, 8 months, even a year. It'll be fun for you to go back and see like what were the most popular things in the beginning and what are the most popular things now.
Yeah, I did. I have to add some more, but I did start to add some things on the back end that allow me to kind of see like what elements people search for the most. So I think that'll be really cool over time to see like, what people search for the most.
Yeah, it helps you to figure out what you invest your time in. Because when you're doing a site that's getting such a broad view, at some point you have to hone in and say, okay, what I've got to invest some time on something. What do I invest it in? And I always go to what are the most popular things that people want, come to look at. And then those are the things that I spend time. And sometimes it's not the stuff that I find the most fascinating. It surprises me.
Yeah, my notes app right now is just all ideas for the site, and you can just scroll and scroll. So I do think like right now I'm kind of in that process of just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And like you said, like once I get more analytics and the site has some time to mature, I think definitely it will be honed in and be its most useful form.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of links to add on IDC to the different components that you've added, because it's building on stuff that for a long time I have the step charts and rulebook stuff. That's as far as it went, and now it's going further. And so now what you can learn is it's growing in such a great way that I'm excited to add links so that people can see what we have and then just go and explore it even further, because that didn't exist. I wish something like this existed way back when I first was getting into watching ice dance, because it would have helped me learn things a lot quicker than the time it's taken me to figure it out.
Yeah, the sport's like a complex board game sometimes. Yeah.
It is. It honestly makes me think about, it's like solving a mystery and you've got a cork board and push pins and strings tied to different things and connections. It's kind of like that. And I love trying to figure stuff out. Like it fascinates me. So I'm really excited to watch your site continue to grow and develop, because I think that you've got a lot of great things in there already. And if I ever think of anything, I'll let you know. But I feel like you've got so much of it covered.
I know.
That I don't even have to think. You've already got it figured out or added by the time I think about it.
Well, I was really grateful that you allowed me to include some of your photos on the site too, because if you're looking to study different costumes or just get ideas, I've started to put together a costume catalog And it's all photos of different elite skaters and close-ups of their costumes. And I have little blurbs of when it was worn, and then some of the designers that did certain costumes. So I'm looking to expand that eventually as well. Maybe next weekend.
Next weekend. Like it's just so funny to hear you think of all these ideas that you're doing. It's just great.
I mean, and in the meantime, Gina, we're gearing up for the new season, and you just get in there and start, and you don't want to stop. I just get so excited by the technology of it that I don't want to stop. I just want to keep working on it, and I always think of something else I want to do, and there's never enough time to be able to pull it together, but I get inspired by stuff like this.
Yeah.
Seeing new websites or new technology start to be integrated in really excites me, and it makes me want to do more and come up with things.
Yeah.
So I love that. And we've seen it more recently. Jackie's done a lot with his website, with Rocker Skating. There's a Skating Scores website that basically, I don't know if the person there ever sleeps, because they're able to just keep updating all the time. Old information, like it's crazy. So it sounds like the site is not just geared towards coaches and skaters. It's geared towards a multitude of things and people.
Yeah, my goal is basically to have sections of the site that are really useful for high level and, medium level skaters, but also, casual skaters and also fans and coaches. And just, I want to serve all aspects of the skating community and create things that, also allow the sport to grow. I have a feature on the site that currently is called Build a Reel, and it allows you to kind of put different elements together in kind of like a little list, and you can share the link to different people. My goal is to eventually allow the system to automatically stitch elements together, kind of like a content creating type of thing. But until I actually am able to host footage on my own, I don't want to manipulate any YouTube footage, because I'm trying to be very legit about everything. So, but yeah, so my goal is to serve all aspects of the skating community.
Now you said you've gotten a lot of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard from like skaters and coaches who are actually actively using it as they prepare for like next season?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know so much about, skaters outside my orbit, but I mean, when I initially launched it, I received a ton of messages from skaters that I know like all over the world, which was super cool and really motivating. I know just from skaters at my rink, I'll walk by in the morning and I see people scrolling the site to find a certain element, and that is like, I'm like, oh yes, like, and then I go home and I'm like, okay, I got to add like so many different things.
That's the best form of flattery, right? Like to see someone using it, it just feels good.
Yeah. So, I think so. But yeah, my goal is to just keep adding more to this site. Right now I have about 700 elements archived. I'm hoping to, my goal is to do every season, every major competition, and, going back even to pre-IJS is the ultimate goal. So also, if you're someone that has footage of old competitions, let me know, if you'd like it on the site, I'd love to archive it and get it into the public.
I know that a lot of fans too like to go back and watch the older stuff, and it seems like it's getting harder and harder to find. And I just have such fond memories of some of those competitions because they were the earliest ones that I watched. And so I hope that you get the opportunity to archive even more going forward. And I know there are folks out there who have a lot of footage digitally, like not on VHS. All of my footage is on VHS. It's in the basement. It's in a box. I have no idea if it would ever work if I put it in a VCR. Because I used to tape everything. Well, late 90s, I was taping everything that there was. Now with streaming and with YouTube, I don't record as much, especially too if I'm at the competition.
Yeah,
I don't come home to watch it after. It's
you
I
don't?
was there. I saw.
See, I do.
No.
I'm weird then.
No, only if there was a performance that I watched and was so excited about it that I just feel like, oh, I have to watch that again. And that does happen. There have been a few. There were a few last season where I came back home and luckily my DVR had recorded it. And I go back and watch it.
Honestly, just putting this together so far has made me feel so much more knowledgeable about skating, because there were programs that, I had never watched before. And then I'm time stamping everything, and I'm like, oh, that was really cool. That was a good idea. I really like their style. So that's been really fun as well. That's the most time consuming part of the site right now, is because I'm time stamping everything by hand. So that takes the most time. I have been working on a system to hopefully help me pre-label stuff, but it's not at a point where I can trust it. So yeah.
It's in beta. Or
yeah, it's in beta.
Before beta.
But if you're a fan and you want early access, it's all there. Yeah.
It's good to have people, beta test and just kind of take a look at things for you too. I have a few people that will go and check some things out for me. WordPress does a lot, and I don't usually have to worry, but it's nice to have another set of eyes and people just check some things out for you, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the skaters at my rink they're my beta testers right now. I'll say, hey, I need you to go use this feature. Tell me what you think. they're so sick of hearing about it.
Well, speaking of the rink, you and Eliana made an announcement about your free dance for next season.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
It's different, from what I've seen the two of you skate. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a big departure for us. The piece was actually Maddie and Adrian's idea. They kind of came to us with it basically right after nationals and told us that they're like, hey, what do you think of this? And I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is amazing. So that was exciting because we got to start working on this free dance way earlier than we normally start working on programs. And it was just kind of like a passion right from the start for it. So it's just been go, go, go. And I'm really excited to bring this story to life, the costumes to life. Eliana is kind of portraying this maiden in distress, and I am the comical barber that is going to solve all her problems. So the program is very much a comedy while also touching on some serious themes, but from a comedic perspective. And there's a pretty interesting twist, I would say, about 2/3 through the program. So I'm excited about that as well. Yeah.
And
that is great. That's great. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen this theme before, and so I'm very excited to see what the two of you bring to it, because like I said, it's not like anything I've seen the two of you skate to before. So this is really going to be pushing you.
And I'm really excited about the contrast to our rhythm dance as well. That I'm really excited about. And I'm just excited to explore the waltz and all that this year. And I'm really excited for all the programs this season, and just looking forward to the new quad. I think there's going to be a lot of great material, and I think it's going to be a good year.
I don't know, this first year in the new quad, it feels fresh to me. It's new, and so I'm excited. Plus we're going back to a pattern, and it's a waltz, and it's just so, it's exciting after a few years of decade-driven programs.
That's what.
Yeah, and I don't, I'm sure most of your listeners know, but for anyone that doesn't, it's been several years since we had a actual pattern dance in a rhythm dance. We've kind of had to make our own pattern dances the last couple of years, and it's funny because at every competition, the judges would always say, "Oh, the PST, which is the pattern dance that you kind of make up, is always their least favorite element." And it's like, well, we're kind of forced to do it. So it's exciting to try something new, and I think everyone's going to give their take on it. They've given us a lot of creative leeway with how we want to portray the dance outside of the steps, but with the patterning and placement of things. So I'm excited for that as well.
Well, Ethan, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about your new project. Where can everyone find you online besides skatingstorage.com?
Yeah, you could follow our team Instagram, which is Team Peal. And, I have my personal Instagram, Ethan Peal, and Skating Storage has its own Instagram that I just launched. Those are really the main places. So you could follow us there and stay tuned for more.
I know the next time we see you, I'm sure there's going to be much more. So,
yes. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of This Week in Skating. Remember, you can keep up with us throughout the week by visiting our website at www.thisweekinskating.com. Connect with us on social media for additional updates. You can find us on Twitter at This Week in Skating without the E's, or Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at This Week in Skating. You got a burning question or feedback for Gina, Daphne, or Mateo? Reach out to us via social media or drop us an email at thisweekinskating@gmail.com. And if you're really enjoying the show and want to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinskating. Until next time, have a nice week.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.